I'm not. Listen, I'm so proud of myself when I tell you, like, literally as I was driving home, I was like, habit. I can't wait to share this. HAB. So I actually don't remember what. I is intoxicated. Are you
Oh.
intoxicated? Basically,
Oh,
are
yes.
you drunk? And let me say, as long as you
Yes.
don't have a problem with alcohol, I actually encourage drinking on first dates. I think like use whatever social lubricants you can to make this thing that is inherently awkward less
Yeah.
awkward. And like,
Yeah.
do not ask me out for coffee. I'm not coming for a job interview, like this. And it does not mean that we have to go to a bar because maybe the
Sure.
other person doesn't drink, but like we can go on a walk around the reservoir. We can do something that just has
Mm-hmm.
a little more like romance to it, preferably not in the light of
Mm-hmm.
day. But what I often
I need
did
some
when
deep.
I
I
think
need some
back about my
darker
past,
lighting.
yeah, please. Unlike this, the app that we're recording on right now that doesn't let you touch up your appearance, I was saying before we recorded, is
No.
just
We, we
painful.
we might be able to fix some stuff in post. We can do some things in post. I think that's where the magic will
Oh,
happen. We'll give you a nice
thank God.
blur glut. Yeah, we got you. You look great. You look
Yeah.
fine.
Oh, please, thank you. Um, so what I was gonna say is a thing that I did a lot is just is meet people when I was very drunk, and like
Yeah.
if I am, thankfully not an addict, but I really, especially when I was younger, like really was a party person. And it was
Mm-hmm.
almost more like an unrealized frat boy. Like I wasn't in a fraternity, but it was like I was living that out when I
Mm.
was in my 20s. And when I met someone else that had that little, uh, I don't know, spark when it came to like, let's do some shots, it could be really fun and it could be really intoxicating, literally. But
Literally,
then
yeah.
we would hang out a few times and like bar hop and like just fall into bed together at the end of the night, and it would be like fun and sexy. But then we were actually unable to hang out in the light of day when we weren't
Yeah.
drinking. It was like, oh, we haven't like slowed down enough to realize that there's not a connection here. So I don't know. My advice is
Mm.
like, I think it's fine, actually good to maybe get a little bit drunk on first dates in a healthy way, but there's a balance, you know?
This is another one where I'm literally thinking back to like my last relationship, and it's like check, 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 check. I will tell you. I to explain. I mean, my ex was an addict. I actually never saw him. There was not a day where I did not see him not partake in some sort of drugs or alcohol or some sort of substance, And there was very functioning, very good at explaining it. They were, a nurse, and just was like, oh, it's my Friday night. But it's like, even though it's like Monday morning, they were overnights. And it was like, well, but when is it? When is it not Friday night? Because it's like now it's just there was always some sort of drink or drug or something, right? And to that point, like are really like we like, every time we were hanging out or doing something, there was some sort of like alcohol or drugs involved in there as well. Like not to the extent of him, but it was a very intoxicated relationship where it was sort of predicated on that. And my therapist was like, you have to spend a weekend together where you're not just partying together. And we never got to that. We were always like, okay, the next time we're gonna do it. And no, it was
Yeah.
like because it was long distance, and so it was like every trip had an element of that. And and it's interesting because there was maybe even a fear of like, we don't know what the relationship would be without that, because that's how we met, and that's how it just is always, the sex was great. And but
Yeah.
yep. Check, check, check. Ooh, man, I'm terrified to find out what the tea is. Like, I don't even know if I can handle it. Red flag.